The next day, I go back to the restaurant. It's morning and there's nobody there. I knock on the door and Billy comes and lets me in. He tells me that the others will be there in a few minutes. We sit down and he tells me he knows I didn't do it. I thank him for his support and I assure him that he's right. I didn't steal anything. He says I could help out if I could name somebody who did. He says they need a name. I tell him I don't know anything about it. Nothing. Not a thing. Just that I've been arrested and fired. That's all I know. Then he says that doesn't matter. Is there somebody I think might have done it? If I can give him a name, it will get me off the hook. I say, Billy, I don't get it. I don't know what you're talking about. I told you I don't know. What are you getting at? He said, somebody has to do it. I said, yeah, fine, but I didn't. And I got accused, and I'm not going to go off ratting on somebody else. You have to, or else they'll stick with you, he said. That's the way this goes. Can you prove you didn't do it? Do I have to? It looks that way. Jesus, Billy, I can't prove anything. I don't know anything. I just want out of this. Just talking about it made me feel worse, like I was caught in a trap. Okay, he says, I know how we can do it. You say you think maybe Don did it. I say, what are you talking about, Billy? I don't know that. And Don's a security guard. If they heard he was even suspected of stealing, he'd lose that job in an instant. Okay, Billy says, forget Don. What about Sue? I say, what do you mean, Sue? She would never do that, Billy. That's crazy. He says, right, I agree. That's why she's perfect. We both know she didn't do it. But it gives the cops somebody else to chew on. They'll forget about you and nothing will happen to her. I felt lightheaded again. I say, Billy, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't do that to Sue. He says, you won't be doing anything except clearing yourself. They'll check her anyway. They're bound to. They're going to check on everybody. She's innocent. We both know that. You're not saying she did it. All you're saying is that she might have done it. She could have done it. My head was spinning again. I felt like I was losing my mind. That's when I wised up. I don't know why I'd been stupid about it for so long. I said, Billy, holy smoke, you did it. He said, no, I didn't. How can you say that? Here I am trying to help you out and you say that. You did it, Billy, I said. I wasn't really accusing him. I was just amazed and certain, realizing it. He stood up. He put his hands on the table to push himself up, and one of them caught his tie, and it came out, and he fumbled with it, putting it back. You don't want my help? There's nothing I can do, he said. I tried to help you, and you turn on me. That's the thanks I get. I know you don't like me, but I'll tell you this. If you go pointing your finger at me, you'll be in big trouble, more than you can handle. He left, and when the others came in, he was with them. He glared at me. I didn't know what to do. I really didn't know what to do, even though I felt sure he'd done it, whatever it was, stolen the money. Mr. Vernon did most of the talking. He said he was pretty sure they'd made a mistake, that they'd gotten the wrong guy, and he wondered if I knew who might have done it. I looked at Billy and said, no, I didn't know. I said I didn't know anything about it, never had. Eddie said there was some indication that maybe Sue had been involved. Some indication. I knew what that meant. Did I know anything about that, Mr. Vernon said. I said no, I didn't know anything. All I knew is that I didn't do anything and that I had been falsely accused and fired in front of everybody, and I wanted to know if anybody was wondering how that could be fixed. Mr. Vernon said that I could have my job back, if that's what I was talking about, and he said he was sorry. I know I shouldn't have gotten mad. I really did need that job, but looking at them, Billy, Eddie, and Mr. Vernon, and thinking about what had happened, it made me angry. They were all so full of shit, even Eddie. So I said no, I didn't want my job back. The job was the last thing in the world I wanted back. What I wanted was a full apology in front of all the people who'd been in the restaurant when the cops were there. That's what I wanted. Mr. Vernon said he thought that could be arranged, and I said, forget it. Don't bother. I wouldn't want to work here anyway. I don't want anything to do with this place. And I walked out. It was a dumb thing to do. I know it was. I probably should have accused Billy right there, but I couldn't prove anything, and he'd have denied it, and I guess I'm not completely sure he did it, even though I know I am. I should have kept my damn mouth shut. I don't know what I was thinking, how unfair it all was, I guess. How they were all protecting themselves in their lousy restaurant, even if it meant screwing people like me and Jackie and Don and Sue. A fall guy, that's what they wanted. Anyway, I walked out. I quit. This time when I told my dad, he told me how stupid I was, how I never should have quit, how it made me look as if maybe I had done it, and they could say anything they wanted to now, he said. He got real sore about it and said we should hire a lawyer and sue the bastards. He said he had a cousin who had a son who was in law school and maybe he'd help us. That's what I mean about my lawyer being just another joke. I told my dad I didn't want any part of it. I just wanted to get another job so I could pay for my next semester. I still felt like all my blood was cold and pooled in my stomach. But Dad, he always looks on the dark side. He said, who the hell would hire me if they found out I'd been fired for stealing? I said I wasn't fired. I quit. He said it didn't matter. What matters is that it looks like I was fired. It looks like I was stealing. I had a big black mark on me, and it would follow me around. And he's right about that. I hate to admit it, but he's right. The charges against me will be dropped. That's what Mr. Vernon said. But due to a technicality, they're still pending because they can only be dropped in court, which means I have to go to court. And David says that as long as I'm there, I should fight it. He says they tried to destroy my character, and when we get a hold of his cousin, son, the lawyer, wannabe, he says he thinks it sounds like dereliction of character, which is also against the law. I thank him for his legal advice. I feel just terrible about it, sick at heart and mad at the same time, while Dad, good old Dad, the last thing he said when he went out to work as he was shaking his head was, I don't know how you could be so dumb, you with all your schooling. You ain't going to learn nothing from all those books. That's a waste of time and money. I always told your mother you was worthless. You ain't going to amount to spit. I sat there for a while. My hands were shaking and I felt like I was going to cry. I was wondering what my philosophy professor would have to say about this. Maybe Dad was right. School was worthless. But then I remembered Dad and Don and Sue and Jackie and Billy. Then Eddie called me and he said, don't be stupid. They made a mistake and you can still have your job back if you want it. I didn't know what to say. He said, considering the way you popped off, I think it's a pretty generous offer. I said, what about Sue? He said, the cops are talking to her right now. That's none of your business. You're out of it. I could hear my father's voice tearing me apart. I need the job. I need the money for school. Sue will be okay. Billy will never bother me. I don't want to have to live like this the rest of my life. It isn't like I've got to lie. All I've got to do is forget the whole thing. That won't be too hard. I'm just passing through. It's nothing. Stupid. And I'm completely innocent. I said, okay, you're right. I'll come back. Thanks, Eddie. I hung up the phone. In the end, nothing happened, right? Right?